All right, well, there's an old saying in journalism, consider the source. But in recent years, a publication with suspect credentials has been breaking news about politicians and their foibles with spot-on accuracy. This week, it happened again. According to this week's National Enquirer, Republican presidential hopeful Dr. Ben Carson rushed patients into surgery and brandished a scalpel like a meat cleaver. Well, I don't know about that, but the Enquirer has uncovered 6 malpractice lawsuits against Carson, quoting one patient as saying he's totally untrustworthy.
I'm the only one to separate Siamese twins.
On the campaign trail, Carson points to his skill as a surgeon as something worthy beyond political acumen. In news reports, he's often referred to as accomplished, renowned, or groundbreaking. So far, no other news outlets have picked up the malpractice story. Then again, they weren't too quick on this either.
A married former senator, a blonde mystery woman, a late-night sting at a hotel, all leading to this shocking tabloid cover story.
Back in 2008, the National Enquirer broke the John Edwards mistress story, something mainstream media was loath to pursue until after he was caught red-handed with a love child. They were also the ones that broke the Jesse Jackson story, the love child in 2008. Of course, there was the infamous Jennifer Flowers story on the cover of Star magazine in 1992. And by the way, I'm not saying there's anything. I would imagine that a lot of neurosurgeons have malpractice suits filed against them. So I'm not saying it to say they wielded it like a meat cleaver. I don't know what happened there, but no one else has picked up on this. And there is this kind of, it's almost condescending in a way. Almost every phrase, especially in the newspapers, the renowned, so well, we don't really know. We just kind of go with that, you know, because somebody says he was a good surgeon at Johns Hopkins.
They made that movie about him. What was it called? Yeah. Great Hands or Super Hands.
But the point is that even this recent thing with the no longer Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, there's rumors abounding that it had something to do with an extramarital affair. We don't know, but the mainstream press is loath to jump on these things until after some tabloid who has pursued it, and it was a substantial news story, at least in the John Edwards case. I mean, let's face it, it cost him the nomination.
Yeah, and if you read the National Enquirer's story on Ben Carson, it demands a follow-up by real journalists, because the story reeked of a story that's accurate but not necessarily true. There's no context there whatsoever. How frequent it is for a surgeon of Ben Carson's level to be sued for malpractice, how likely it is for these very difficult types of surgeries to go wrong on occasion.
I know, but that's my whole point. No one's looked into that at all.
They should.
Except the New York, except the Enquirer.
They should.
That's my point. We're calling him renowned without even knowing.
But I'm saying the Enquirer story did not impress me at all,
no,
and I would really
like
like to see a follow-up looking more deeply into this.
First of all, I just want to say, until I saw your piece, I had forgotten what a lovely couple John Edwards and Betty Boop there, whatever her name was, made. What a couple of cute people they were. But look, there's a difference here. You're absolutely right, Emily. If there are malpractice documents on file, a significant number of them, that's a paper trail of some kind. And if the candidate is using his medical expertise as a selling point on the trail, okay, have at it. I agree. Let's scrutinize these documents, and if they tell a story, let's report that story. Speculation about an affair without a paper trail, without eyewitnesses, that's a lot dicier. My concern is that in the environment we're in today, the news consumer doesn't necessarily differentiate. Everything is news, even if it's actually garbage.
One reason I think this is coming out now and only from the Enquirer is because of the weird nature of what's going on in the Republican primary. We have talked on this show before about Donald Trump not being taken seriously, being treated in the entertainment pages because everybody in the traditional political press is looking at him and saying there's no way he would ever become president. Similarly with Ben Carson, he's somebody that, if he had been a doctor who was then the senator from Maryland and then was running for office, this story people would have been looking through those records weeks ago.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think, I totally agree that follow-up's appropriate, but calling him renowned or accomplished, I mean, what was he, chief of
No, I know.
pediatric neurosurgery at
But
Johns
we don't
Hopkins.
know.
I mean,
do you know that for a fact? I mean, I don't know. It's just, why would you
I think-
characterize
Well, I
him
think
at
we
all?
know that for a fact, right? That he did perform the first surgery separating
conjoined
Siamese
twin. I know,
twins
but-
conjoined at the head. So right there, that suggests a level of accomplishment and
Yeah.
expertise that's impressive. Now, that doesn't mean he can't,
Yeah.
do his job poorly. But I have to agree with Dan. I know that doctors really can take a beating with inappropriate
Oh, absolutely.
malpractice suits. So
And-
follow up.
I'm-
on that.
And very briefly, facts don't always tell a full story. We learned early in this campaign that Bernie Sanders, 30 years ago, wrote an article in which he basically advised rape victims to try to find some pleasure in what had happened. Does that make him a raving misogynist today? I don't think so.
I don't know. All right.